Welcome to freedomlovin.com, where we focus on building freedom in an unfree world. Through personal development, location independence, and passive income strategies. Now here's your host, Kevin Koskela.
Welcome to another episode of the Freedom Lovin' Podcast. This is Kevin, and this is number 75. And today I'm going to talk about Prague a little bit, where I am right now, and also the idea of multiple streams of income in just a minute. So thanks to everyone for listening, and welcome to anyone that's new. I normally read off the iTunes reviews, and I checked iTunes today, and I had 0 reviews on the Freedom Lovin' Podcast, which was a bit alarming, and I thought that somehow they had been taken down, and I was about to contact Apple, which probably would have led me down a rabbit hole of like some ridiculous amount of time to try to get a hold of somebody, but I just decided to check other podcasts, and it looks like nobody has any reviews, so somehow they went down, and I don't know if that's possibly because I am using a VPN, but I tried it without the VPN and I just couldn't even get into iTunes. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe it is me being in the Czech Republic could be maybe screwing it up somehow, but otherwise maybe it's just something with iTunes that's down for just a short period of time, hopefully. But if you do want to help out the show, I would really appreciate it if you could just go in iTunes and give us a rating and review. I will read it on the next show along with anyone that has done so in the past week. So anyway, before we get going, I wanted to mention that the Freedom Lovin' Podcast was featured on a blog post by James from the Borderless Podcast, who I was on his show with James and Jonathan on the Borderless Podcast. And the title of the blog is The 9 Essential Podcasts for Living a Borderless Life. So we were up there in the 9 Essentials. So I was pretty honored to hear about that. And so check that out. I'll have the link in the show notes for this show. So you can just go to freedomlovin.com. I'll stick the link in there. And let's see, I just met up with President Jedlička from the Liberland organization, or the new country of Liberland, and he actually lives in Prague, and so he's got his embassy here, and it is him and his girlfriend living in an apartment that is an embassy. So I went over there, just kind of walked across town and met up with him, and he's got like an awesome view. It's a really nice place, a really nice part of town where it looks like a lot of really wealthy people live. But it's kind of a small apartment, but it has a nice patio. He's even got a kind of like a hot tub up there, so it's pretty nice, pretty fancy. But yeah, we sat and chatted for a little bit, and just kind of like caught up and just seeing what he was looking for. And so I might stop by there again tomorrow and just help him out with a couple things. And I want to get my citizenship, so we didn't take care of that. But anyway, it's episode number 69 if you want to hear about Liberland and what's going on there. It's a new country in Europe that this guy founded, and he's a Czech Republic citizen, and he basically went down to this little plot of land that no one has claimed and put a flag down. And so I have a picture with us with the flag, and so I may end up going down there. I don't know. There's no one actually being allowed onto that land. The Croatian police are blocking a pathway to get there, so it's going to be kind of tough. But they're still having a party every week, I guess, somewhere near there, like across the river. And so there's an outside chance I might do that, not this weekend, but next weekend. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens. But anyway, it's kind of fun to be a part of it in any way. Even if the whole project just falls apart, it's still fun. I mean, he was just in the U.S., and he made some mainstream media like the Bloomberg Report. They did a feature on Liberland, and then he's been talking to a lot of shows, like I think John Stossel wants to have him on, and some other mainstream people. So kind of cool stuff. Let's see, Prague. Just want to talk about Prague quickly. I've been here for a few days now. Let's see, I got in Thursday night. It's now Wednesday. So actually almost a week. Wow. Yeah, just really impressed with this city. It's beautiful, it's clean, it's cheap. Things work like you kind of expect them to work. There's lots to do here. The weather's been great. It's actually been a little bit hot, but it's been awesome. There's beer gardens all over the place. They have these big parks. It's kind of like Germany in that way. They've got these parks with these big beer gardens in the middle of them. And it's amazing how you walk around the parks and people there's often people drinking beer in the park, like right out in the open. It's unbelievable. Like coming from the U.S., it's so illegal. Like you're probably going to be fined like hundreds of dollars just for cracking open a beer in a park. So there's a lot of people doing that, and it's interesting. I even saw some people smoking. Like that's like, I think you'd be arrested and put in jail in the US if you were smoking in a park. It's a pretty open place. Like I smell marijuana once in a while here, and it's pretty out in the open. I don't think people are hiding it too much. So I don't know what the laws are here, but it's interesting. And they have Uber. It's very popular here. Uber is uber cheap. It's a lot cheaper than Uber in the US. So it's interesting. So I've been taking that here and there, and along with riding the metro, which the metro is actually pretty awesome too. It's clean, it goes everywhere, and it's cheap. And yeah, so that's been pretty awesome too. English is spoken here. It's not nearly as much as the place like Germany, where you kind of expect, if you're in a city in Germany, that pretty much everyone's going to know English. But in Czech, it's not quite like that. Like I just got a massage today. She knew zero English. I mean, she knew, I guess, like 10 words in English, but she was using the Google Translate to tell me and ask me things. So, and I'm in the heart of Prague. I'm in the like absolute, middle of it. And so then you run across that here way more than a lot of other countries. I'm not sure exactly why. I think it's because it was a communist country for so long, and they really weren't, like, people weren't brought up speaking English. So they just kind of stick with the Czech language. And I think a lot of the younger people have learned English and are learning English. It's spoken here, but not as much as some other places in Europe. The Wi-Fi is really good here. It's not quite as good as what I'm used to back home in San Diego, but it's really close, and you can do just about anything here. Like I've done tons of Skype calls, and videos are fine. It may be a little slower, but it's really good here. I mean, I don't really have any complaints, and I've been to several cafes, and the Wi-Fi has been good everywhere. It's easy to most of the cafes don't even have a password. It's like just kind of open. And so I'm happy with everything here. And I've been able to get a lot of work done. So that's been awesome too. It tends to happen when I travel. I tend to get more work done, which is kind of bizarre, unless I do the thing where I'm bouncing around, or if I go to Bali where there's no internet. The last thing that I want to mention is that it is really easy to cross the streets here. The drivers are much more similar to the US drivers than they are to drivers in Asia. So what I mean is that if you step into a crosswalk, they'll slow down, they'll stop for you for the most part. And there's also lights. They actually have traffic lights. They have, walk, green, red, walk, don't walk. And people are pretty polite. And in Asia, for example, you are not going to get that kind of politeness. People just will run you down if you're standing in the street. So, and I know that you get used to that if you live in somewhere like Saigon, where you just have to cross and not even think about it. But I'd rather not have that to deal with. I'd rather have kind of orderly system where cars just stop and, kind of wave you on. And you never see that in Asia. In fact, I think if you're driving, or if you're on your motorbike in Asia, in like a place like Saigon, and you slow down for a pedestrian, I think you might get dirty looks from other people on their bikes. So that's one thing that's great about Prague. So thumbs up to Prague. I'm going to be moving on to Budapest in a few days, and really looking forward to that as well. And I'll be there about a week. So, one more thing I wanted to mention about coming to Europe in general. It's super easy to get in here. The passport thing is unbelievably easy. So I flew into Frankfurt first in Germany, and just had to go from one gate to another. And in between the gates, there was a passport check, and it was so quick. There was no line. I just walked up, gave the guy my passport. He looked at it for like 3 seconds, stamped it, and I was on my way. And no questions asked, nothing, not how long you're going to be here, not where are you going, not where did you come from, like nothing. So it's just quite a big difference from here and going into the US. If you're visiting the US, you will be guilty until you're proving yourself innocent. And even as a US citizen, that happens obviously quite a bit. So when I came back from Colombia, I got really harassed, and they went through my stuff. They went through most of my stuff in my backpack. And it was just kind of a power trip. The guy was a young guy. I think I mentioned on the podcast. But anyway, easy time coming into Europe if you're in the Shenzhen zone. And I don't know all the rules, but I think you can stay for like 3 months and then you have to leave after that. But I don't think there's too many other things you have to worry about. So I know some people also that are kind of getting around that too, that are staying here for longer than the 3 months. So I think you can do it. If you want to live in Europe, it's totally doable. And there's always ways around some of the rules out there. So the other thing I wanted to talk about on this podcast is the idea of multiple streams of income. So I'm revisiting this strategy, and I've been focused mostly on my one stream of income, which is triswimcoach.com. And I've been working really hard on sales funnels and not only redoing what we had before, but actually creating several sales funnels and testing them. And this has taken a lot of time. So I'm really happy I've done it because I'm having some success now. After many months of doing this, I'm actually starting to see some really nice results and it's really working. So I'm excited about that. But I want to add in some other streams of income. I do have other websites. I have about probably 5 or 6 sites that earn income as well. But most of them don't earn a lot. So anywhere from like $20 to like maybe a few $100s a month. And I know that all of them could be improved. And so I'm going to be, in the next couple of months, I'm going to be going down the path of improving these multiple streams of income. And because I started this years ago, I read a book called Multiple Streams of Income. I think the guy's name is, I can't remember the author's name, but I'll look that up. I think it's Allen is the last name, Robert Allen. It might be Robert Allen. So anyway, his philosophy is that you build up multiple streams of income, you invest in different areas, and then you're set for life. You don't have to worry as much about working and constantly hammering at work. And I really like the philosophy. And then he wrote a book also called Multiple Streams of Internet Income, which I mentioned, I think, on the last podcast. And that's basically just building up websites and having them all produce income. And that, it's really, like people say, it's living the dream. It's really the ideal situation, because if you can build up an internet business and you can start automating it, then a lot of it is just checking in, making sure everything is going the way it needs to go. And you can hire people to do a whole lot of things with it. So that's where I'm looking at. And, the idea is if a site earns $100 a month, I want to just double that, make it $200 a month, and then double that. And then, pretty soon you've got a nice little income coming in from that site. And then you move on to another site, and then you just do the same thing. So I think the process will be kind of the first one that I work on will probably take a little while. And then from there, I'll be able to apply all of that into the next one. So it's not as much work, and then on down the line. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'll be reporting on how that goes on this podcast. So stay tuned. I'll also be looking at, in the next few months, at kind of non-internet ways to make money. So it's just one of those things, like, what if the internet goes down? All that I do right now for money is, all the money that I make right now is from the internet. Is I sold my last piece of real estate recently. And so that income is gone. And now I just have internet income. So I want to look at other ways to make money. And that could be investments, and it could be another business or something else. I'm not really sure what exactly that's going to be, but I'm definitely interested in ideas in non-internet realms. So that's about all I had today. The next podcast will be coming to you from Budapest, Hungary, and I'm really looking forward to that. And so thanks everyone for listening. Go out there and build some freedom, and have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Freedom Lovin' Podcast. To break free today, head on over to freedomlovin.com and download our free guide. 7 practical tips to living free in an unfree world.